Rand Paul is an ophthalmologist, and if I needed eye surgery, I would be happy to have him do it. After all, he's done hundreds of eye operations over an 18-year career. I'm less sure that I'd be as happy to have him as President of the United States. This gets to a core question about presidential politics in general and about 2016 in particular. Americans are clearly fed up with politics and politicians as usual. But we've just had 6 years of a freshman U.S. Senator in the White House, and people aren't happy with that either. So is the country ready to elect another rookie politician? Or do people recognize that politics, like eye surgery, is a profession in which inexperience is not a virtue? Brett?
You know, Brit, there are a lot of newcomers in this potential field. You have Ted Cruz, first-time senator, Marco Rubio. Scott Walker on a foreign policy stage really hasn't had a ton of experience.
It's going to be interesting to see how these newcomers, relatively speaking, hold up against some of the more experienced politicians when it gets into the debates and into the full-fledged primary season.
Back now to our big story tonight on a big shift in the polls as the Republican field starts to take shape for the 2016 White House run. Just a short time ago, I spoke with Charles Krauthammer. All right, Charles, so we've got Rand is in, Ted Cruz is in, Rubio's about to get in. So where do you think things stand? How have they done so far?
The unfortunate characteristic that the three of them share is they are all first-term senators. And we have an unfortunate experience with the current president, who is the same. So I think that works against all of them. I don't think it's fatal by any means, but you have a little bit of an advantage if you're a former governor or a current governor.
So you've got, in the top tier, in your view, you've got Walker, you've got Jeb Bush, you've got Marco Rubio. And then in the next tier beneath them, you put who? Cruz, Rand Paul, anybody else?
Cruz, Rand Paul, Huckabee. And as an outsider, outside chance, Chris Christie. So I think there could be one more entry into the top tier, likely coming out of that pool.
Not Ben Carson, because he polls pretty well.
I'm afraid he's a good man, he's a great doctor, he's a great patriot. But it is impossible to go from citizen to president overnight unless you won the Second World War like Eisenhower. This is going to be quite difficult. It's a pretty high bar, and it really hasn't been matched. So I know he's a popular guy, but I don't see him as a candidate who lasts.
So what have professional politicians done for us? Obama tripled the debt. The prior administration doubled it. Congress hasn't passed a proper budget in 5 of the last 6 years. Congressional approval rating is 12%. Even though 75% of Americans believe in controlled spending, Congress can't pass a balanced budget amendment. And while they have a term limit on the presidency, they won't limit themselves. Dr. Carson's lack of professional political experience is one of his greatest assets. 4 of the Declaration of Independence signers were doctors. Being a non-professional politician means Dr. Carson won't owe the special interests anything. Ronald Reagan wasn't a great president because he was a governor, but because he was an articulate, principled conservative who knew how to get things done. Remember, Ronald Reagan was an actor before he was a governor. We know that a politician will do or say anything in order to be elected and re-elected, so the only way we can guess what they'll do is based on their time in office. Dr. Carson's personal story is his resume. He grew up poor in Detroit, raised by a single mother. He was a bad student until his mom insisted that he and his brother turn off the TV and start reading books. Within a year, he went from the bottom to the top of his class, went on to medical school, and became a successful neurosurgeon at Johns Hopkins. He gained fame successfully separating conjoined twins in a 22-hour operation staffed by a 70-person surgical team. Dr. Carson was awarded the Medal of Freedom in 2008 and has given over 6,000 scholarships through his Carson Scholars Fund. Dr. Carson speaks regularly as a natural, constitutional conservative, championing small government, low taxes, secure borders, common sense healthcare solutions, and revitalized education. He favors strong foreign policy, all of the above energy, is pro-life and pro-marriage. He gained national attention at the 2013 National Prayer Breakfast when he boldly spoke truth to power, condemning the Affordable Care Act, with President Obama sitting uncomfortably less than 10 feet away. We have put our country's future in the hands of professional politicians for far too long. We need a brilliant man who has made a career dealing with life and death decisions every day. Please help us support Dr. Carson's efforts to become President of the United States. Volunteer by visiting www.runbenrun.org today.